Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Monday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and boy, do we have a lot going on here today. A bunch of Steelers news, a bunch of Pirates news, and a little bit of Penguins news as well. Gonna get into all that in a moment. First off, today, or this week, is the week. Hopefully, we will finally get an ending to this whole Aaron Rodgers debacle. Pittsburgh Steelers bringing in more draft prospects. You also got the Penguins officially being eliminated from playoff contention, and the Pittsburgh Pirates being the Pittsburgh Pirates on and off the field. Going to get to that here in a matter of moments. If you are a first-time, watcher of this channel, I appreciate it, and I would appreciate if you like, comment, and share this stream. You can comment in the live chat. Also, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Going to get started here in a matter of moments with some Aaron Rodgers updates, which really, there aren't any new updates. That's the update, and it's kind of been that way for a little while now. But, yeah, we're going to start there. I mean, this is the big week. We are a little over 48 hours out from the Pat McAfee big night at PPG Paints Arena on Wednesday. I and maybe a couple of you watching here will be there and will be in attendance for what hopefully will be the big finale, crescendo, whatever you want to call it, of this whole Aaron Rodgers, what is he going to do story. Kind of like a couple of weeks ago, there has been a bit of a quiet period in this saga with no new updates. The only bit of news that we've gotten was from NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, who on Good Morning Football today said, quote, "The Minnesota Vikings were very clear that Aaron Rodgers, as of right now, is not an option for them. They're moving full speed ahead with J.J. McCarthy. There are no other spots. So if Aaron Rodgers is going to play football in 2025, it is going to be for the Pittsburgh Steelers." Later in the afternoon on the Pat McAfee show, nonetheless, Rappaport reiterated, that Rodgers had a good meeting with the Steelers a couple of Fridays ago, that him throwing with DK Metcalf in California last week was a positive sign, and that the big three of Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, and Art Rooney II said that things are moving in the right direction. But he isn't definitively yet 100% ruling out the Vikings, or something else happens, probably until the ink has dried on an Aaron Rodgers contract with the Steelers. This whole thing has been filled with grueling twists and turns, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, for the most part, we're stuck in this lull period until the McAfee Live show on Wednesday night, and after that, we'll either be talking about Rodgers being a Steeler, or we will be left wondering what's next with the draft quickly approaching. Also, take into consideration Pat McAfee show correspondent Mark Caboli, who just a couple of hours ago, I believe, tweeted something along the lines of, if you think Aaron Rodgers doesn't know exactly what he's doing or that he hasn't, made a choice, you're crazy. So Caboli, who, tied to the hip with McAfee, who's tied to the hip with Rodgers, pretty much saying that Rodgers has a decision made. He just isn't telling us yet. So more now, he's just got to wait 48 hours, like I said, waiting for this Pat McAfee live show Wednesday night at PPG Paints Arena. I'll be there with my father. Going to be a night of laughs. Going to be some special guests, Pat said as well. Fully sold out now. A couple of loose solo seats if any of you are interested in snagging one of those before Wednesday night. Going to switch gears now, still sticking with the Steelers. Steelers have visits with more prospects here today. Just an update on that. Last week, we left off with the Steelers meeting with 4 prospects apiece on Thursday and Friday. Thursday, I believe it was Caleb Johnson from Iowa, Matthew Golden from Texas, Pitt tight end Gavin Bartholomew, and Florida State corner Azariah Thomas. Within the next 24 hours, the Steelers met with Mississippi QB Jackson Dart, Iowa State wide receiver Jalen Knoll, Oregon defensive tackle Jamari Caldwell, and South Carolina safety Nick Amenwari. After a fairly quiet weekend, the visits aren't stopping today as the Steelers hosted at least 3 more prospects. At least one player for each of their top 2 draft needs at running back and defensive line. Those 3 prospects were Virginia Tech running back Bayshal Tootin, Florida State defensive tackle Joshua Farmer, and a big name here, Texas A&M defensive end Shamar Stewart. I'm not going to get into depth too much on these guys as I want to save the research that I'm doing for my big draft stream on April 24th, maybe even the 25th and 26th as well. But I will say, in what I've looked at of the running back class, Tootin has been a high riser. He is in the top 10 running backs for me in this draft. And also, I'm just now getting into some of the defensive line positions, but I fully expect Joshua Farmer to be a top 10 defensive tackle, and Shamar Stewart, he's probably going to be a top 5 defensive end when it's all said and done. Another visit also being confirmed, this directly from the horse's mouth, is Mississippi corner Trey Amos. He was on the Insiders show on NFL Network with Ian Rappaport and Mike Garafolo. He said that he does have a trip to Pittsburgh for a visit with the Steelers scheduled. And also this one just coming across recently, SMU defensive end Elijah Roberts, who I believe has been reported to have a visit with the Steelers scheduled. He posted to his Instagram story today that he is in Pittsburgh. Not quite sure whether that visit is today or tomorrow. So I believe that now makes at least 24 total visits that are already completed or at least scheduled with the Steelers, 6 of which are running backs, and now 6 of which are defensive linemen with the late addition today of Shamar Stewart. The reason why I'm telling you guys all this is, and I'll bring this up on draft night as well, is because these pre-draft visits are pretty much the Steelers writing on a billboard of who they're thinking of taking in not just the first round, but in all rounds of the draft. Shout out to Steelers Draft HQ on X for confirming this, that in the past 2 drafts, the Steelers took 4 of their visits, selected 4 of their visits with 4 of their 6 picks in 2023. And in 2024, 6 of their 7 selections were pre-draft visits as well. So Omar Khan, Andy Weidel, Mike Tomlin, they're getting these guys into the building, possibly learning more about them, getting a second check, on their bill of health. And yeah, this is pretty much going to be in that same range again, 4 to 6 players from these pre-draft visits are going to be Steelers by this time next month. So homework assignment for all of us, get to know those names, memorize them, and we will see them again. I'm almost sure we'll at least see some of them again on April 24th through the 26th. Let's go to the comments real quick. Hey, what's up, brother? Can't hang too long in Kentucky for vacation, but wanted to stop in. So much has happened since the last stream. Yeah, so much has happened indeed. I mean, I'm trying to get through it as quickly as possible. I hope you can stick around here for a little bit longer. We got the Bucs coming on in a little over an hour, so I want to get through that. Was going to do a mock draft Monday, but I think we are having too much news here today to do that, so we're going to push that back another week here. But yeah, seeing how you're here, I know you're a big Pirates fan. Hope you're having a good vacation there in Kentucky. I was gonna get into the Penguins next, but we're actually gonna get into the Pirates now. And I'm sure you've heard about what is going on with the Roberto Clemente wall situation. Let me find what all I have on it here. So last we spoke on Friday, I disappointingly ended my stream of the Bucs home opener early because they played some of the ugliest baseball in a 9-4 loss. You were there. That day was just a complete and total disaster from start to finish. Derek Shelton got booed during the introductions. Bob Nutting decided for some reason to take a scenic walking route up the left field rotunda where fans heckled him to sell the team. Multiple sell the team chants broke out throughout the game when errors were made or, the Pirates couldn't hit with runners in scoring position or the Yankees scored runs. During the game, that all happened. Some jagoff was wearing a New York Yankees Paul Skeens jersey to taunt the fans, and even some fans, by the time the second inning rolled out, had paper bags over their heads. So just to quickly cover what else went down in the other two games over the weekend. Saturday, Bucs blew a 4-2 lead, lost 10-4, and then on Sunday, yesterday, walked it off 5-4 in 11 innings. And though they tried their damnedest to blow that game as well. So, and also the Yankees broadcast crew, they were also on the record blasting Bob Nutting for not building a winning team in Pittsburgh and calling Pittsburgh, a great sports city, but also pointed out their inability to sign free agents to multi-year deals. So, all right. So we've all heard that, but everything I just said, that wasn't even the worst part of the weekend. And I think you all know what it is. I believe it was Pittsburgh Clothing Company on X, if I'm correct, who pointed out on Saturday that the Clemente 21 logo below the foul pole on the Clemente wall in right field was removed and replaced by a Surfside beverage advertisement. Upon this being posted, all hell broke loose. You had fans, baseball social media accounts, and even former Bucs manager Clint Hurdle reacting to this with disappointment and disapproval for the Pirates organization. What made the situation even worse, that's bad in and of itself. What made it even worse is that Roberto Clemente's son, Roberto Jr., he found out about it just like us fans did. And upon learning of this about half an hour before yesterday's game, Clemente Jr. released a statement on the removal of his father's tribute sign, which I summarized here. Yesterday, I was shocked to learn that the Clemente 21 sign had been removed and replaced by an advertisement. This change was made without any communication with our family. While we appreciate the Pirates acknowledging their failure to inform us, it reveals the broader issue that the organization lacks meaningful collaboration with us and the fans. The outpouring of support from fans is deeply appreciated. It's clear our father's legacy continues to inspire and unite people. We have always been open to building a sincere and lasting partnership with the Pirates, and our hope is that this paves the way for a more transparent relationship moving forward. So Roberto Jr. posts that about half an hour before first pitch yesterday. 3 hours later, I think around 4 o'clock, the game is still going on. Pirates president Travis Williams also released a response statement, which I also summarized to: "We did not mean to disrespect the legacy of Roberto Clemente by adding the advertisement. It was an oversight not keeping the number 21 logo. This is ultimately on me, and it was an honest mistake." We will be adding the number 21 logo back to the pad. We used that area for advertisements for years, but when we didn't have a sponsor after COVID, we added the number 21 logo. This is in addition to many elements throughout the ballpark that honor his legacy. We want to make sure that the Clemente family understands that we intended no disrespect. We look forward to looking to continue our relationship, and we apologize to them and our fans. What do you think? That is about as Pirates as it gets right there, ladies and gentlemen. The Pirates removed a tribute to their best player in franchise history. They don't tell their family or the fans about it, and then they are pretty much bullied into putting it back and are now getting dunked on by the Colorado Rockies AA team, the Hartford Goats. Yard Goats, I think is what their name is, actually. But, I mean, this is just disgustingly incompetent. Like, seriously, everyone in the organization needs fired and nothing needs to sell the team, but this just proves that they are on a whole new level of stupidity, one that we thought that they couldn't honestly reach. Removing the name Clemente from the Clemente wall, yeah, that makes all the sense in the world, and that's going to sit with fans. And real quick, forgot to, cover this. It came out over the weekend, but still no better place to cover it now. Paul Skeens, love you. Please do not take the bullet for Nutting and Sherrington and Derek Shelton. Things have been bad for 6 years now, and the ride never stops. Don't say that it's solely on you players, because it has been this bad for years. So, yeah, Clemente's thing got removed. His tribute sign got removed. And, yeah, it's just not going well for the Bucs. I mean, they're, 3-7 now. They got a game starting here at 6:40. Like I said, a new series against the St. Louis Cardinals. And, yeah, now they are trying to make amends for taking the name Clemente off the Clemente wall. And the jokes just, wrote themselves off of that. I saw another mock-up picture of people putting advertisements on the Clemente statue outside of the stadium. And, yeah, that what a wild weekend that was on and off the field. But probably, this whole Clemente saga was honestly more entertaining than the Pirates play them itself. So back to the comments. Yeah, glad they put it back up, but wow, haha, damn, shout out to the Yankees broadcast. And yeah, I mean, Yankees, right message, wrong messenger. You guys are the pinnacle of the baseball world right now. You're spending, I think the number was $89 million for the Bucs payroll compared to $289 or $290 for the Yankees, total payrolls over this past weekend. Because, yeah, I mean, you guys are the reason why, some teams are going to be fighting for a salary cap here in 2026 when the new CBA collective bargaining agreement is up. And, like I said, right message, Pirates need to spend more, but wrong messenger coming from one of the elite teams. One example that the Yankees broadcast used was saying, like, this is a sports city. Pittsburgh is a sports city. The Steelers sell out every single home game, and I believe they have like a 20-year waiting list for season tickets. And the Penguins, not really such a good example right now, but they're not too far removed from being in the playoffs every year, and they sell that barn out when they're competing. The Pirates, it's a baseball city. It's there. Go and look at the wild card game when Russell Martin hit that homer off of Johnny Cueto. Look at the crowds there from 2013 to 2015. It goes back to that saying, if you build it, they'll come. Build the team. If you're losing money, in reality, like what the report of DK Pittsburgh Sports said, if you're losing money, build around the team, put more money into the product itself, which I think I lost it this afternoon, but I think it was Andrew Filipponi from 93.7 The Fan, so take it for what it's worth. He said that the Pirates put more money into a new analytics baseball operations department jobs this offseason, hiring more nerds with freaking iPads and stuff like that than they did the actual roster. So the money, if they're losing money, they're losing money, but what little money you have needs to be put into the right things. And by far having like 5, analytical darlings who have barely played baseball in their lives compared to having like 5 of those guys compared to 1 players. That's just not right at all. Like, all the money's going into the wrong place. And I know I got off topic here, but Pittsburgh is a baseball town. You got to put money into the team, spend money to, make money. And one example that the Yankees broadcast used was that the city of Pittsburgh can be like the Cleveland Guardians. They can, even though they're kind of like a middle of the road team, be in the playoffs and making a run each and every year. So, I mean, yeah, Yankees, they definitely said it right. Glad he said something while, talking about Travis Williams. Just this whole organization needs dismantled from the top bottom. Charrington needs to go. Shelton has needed to go for a while now. Travis Williams, if you're letting stuff like that happen, then what the hell are you actually doing? You're the business president. I'm almost certain if we're losing money, that's on you too. And nothing needs to sell the team because, everybody and their mother knows how bad of an owner he is and that he's going to drive this team further into the ground more than he is going to bring it back up to some sort of relevance in MLB baseball in this day and age. Yeah, I agree. Took his son calling out the organization. They knew what they were doing. This proves how little they care about anything other than a check. Very, very sad. It's getting loud as is. Yeah, I mean, you would have think somebody in their right set of mind would said, hey, we're going to put up a beverage here. Honestly, haven't even heard of it. What the hell is, a Southside drink? Is it, an alcoholic drink or something like that? But hey, we got this whole Clemente thing that's been here for years now, and it's been a staple. This is the Clemente wall after it. I believe they also, on the Clemente wall, have like 2 little 21s in, gold other than the logo that they took away. So you got to think somebody's looking at it like, we're going to take this down. Don't you think that we should, let his family know or let the fans know, or at least, at least make it like how they redid the bottom of the Clemente wall where it's not the old like light bulbs lighting up, it's an LED board. Maybe you put like an LED board thing there as well, like up the wall, so even though you can flash advertisements there, you can also flash the Clemente logo there as well. Like, I get it, that is more money than simply putting pads there, but still could be way worse. Still, you could have done way, way better there. Yeah, they knew what they were doing. I get it. If you're losing money, you got to make revenue some way, and pretty much one of the main ways you can do that is ad revenue. But ad placement is something, and this is gonna hurt the Pirates taking it down and putting it back up. Then it was worth putting that advertisement up. The juice just wasn't worth the squeeze in that instance. Agreed. I stand with Skeens and his comment to not say anything, and I was shredded on X defending him, but oh well. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Yeah, you guys are the players, but, Skeens, you have nothing to freaking, not take any blame for here. You go out there every 5th day and you just shove, and you're one of the most elite players in baseball. So I get it. Yeah, you want to take some accountability as the players, but, it's been the same way over and over again. You guys are being fed, the wrong information by coaches who don't know what they're doing. You have a manager who can't manage a ball game anymore to save his life. I mean, hell, you're putting Colin Holderman and David Bednar back in there to start the season when they sucked for the back half of last year. I mean, you've had multiple late inning collapse already this season, so things have, just not been right for years now, and it's not Skeens' fault or the players' fault all that much as it is, ownership and management and stuff like that. Yeah, his comment was wild. We have a wall named the Clemente wall. That was my favorite line of that whole Travis Williams quote. Here, let me find the exact part of that quote. I summarized both Clemente Jr. and Williams's quotes, but right here. This is in addition to many elements throughout the ballpark that honor his legacy, including the fact that the wall is named the Roberto Clemente Wall and is 21 feet tall and has two number 21s on it. Like, let's take the name Clemente off the Clemente Wall. Makes all the sense in the world there. I don't care if it's public knowledge, if it's, common knowledge. Oh, that's the Clemente Wall. Just like if I were to go to Fenway, oh, that's the green monster right there. Not just, oh, that's a big green wall. Like, you need to leave his name on there for respect purposes. He was saying we have enough to commemorate him, basically, which is insane. He got no respect or love while he was playing, at least. He at least got respect and love while he was playing. I mean, just the only thing that the Pirates have going for them is living off the legacy of the past. All those World Series of the 70s and all that. You're still clanging on as a selling point the names of Clemente, Parker, Stargell, Mazeroski, all those guys. So if you're not going to build a baseball team to compete in the year 2025, you at least need to still be respectful and put the utmost effort into honoring those of the past. And they surely did not do that here, taking that off. The baseball gods will not reward the Pirates. When have the baseball gods honestly ever rewarded the Pirates? I mean, 3-7 start to the season, and now you got the Cardinals, who are starting the year off leading the division, I believe. It's just going to get worse. So, should be a fun game tonight. Going to get to some more Bucs news other than this Clemente thing here in a minute. Real quick, just going to hit on the Penguins real quick, and then we'll go into sort of the segment I have here where it's just, random loose stories from the day related to all the Pittsburgh sports teams. The Penguins, they split a back-to-back weekend matchup and are now officially eliminated from playoff contention. Those back-to-back games were against the Dallas Stars on Saturday afternoon and against the Chicago Blackhawks last night, and both performances showed the best and worst of this 2024-25 Penguins team. On Saturday against the Stars, the ever so aging, like fine wine, Sidney Crosby, he had a hat trick. Always great to see that. And, that's kind of him always being such an uber competitor over Alex Ovechkin. I'm sure everybody knows what's happened with him. Saturday against Stars, Crosby scores a hat trick. Rust records his 200th career goal, and the Pens had an impressive 5-3 win over a legit cup contender in the Stars. They're going to be probably one of my top picks to come out of the Western Conference. A little over 24 hours later, the Pens lost 3-1 to a fellow lottery team searching for the number one overall pick in the Blackhawks. And with that loss, and I believe with the Buffalo Sabres win, I think they won over the Bruins, if I'm not mistaken, last night, the Pens were officially eliminated from making the playoffs. Now, as much as it sucks watching another full and very productive year of Sidney Crosby go by meaninglessly, I'm not going to sit here like some other people and go with a full scorched earth, fire and brimstone reaction to the Penguins season here. Early in the season, we all knew how things were going to shake out for the remainder of the year. In my opinion, Penn's general manager, Kyle Dubas, did a great job trimming some of the fat from this team. Not all, because if he did trim all the fat, then Ryan Graves and Tristan Jarry would be elsewhere right now. But he did a good job selling off some valuable assets and taking advantage of a complete and total seller's market throughout the season. And over the past week, with the youthful additions of Rucker McGroarty and Billy Koivunen, this team has looked different and has shown marginal signs of improvement. I mean, you put McGroarty with Sid and Rust on the first line, and then you got Koivunen with Malkin and Raquel. That, I think, is a top six I can get behind for next year. And there's more of those guys on the way as well. Dubas also said a couple of weeks ago, after the trade deadline had passed, that the team is now going to be shifting this on-the-fly rebuild into bringing in assets instead of selling them off and making a push for the playoffs next year. So I believe they got 30 draft picks over the next 3 years, 11 in this year's draft, 2 firsts if the New York Rangers have pick number 14 or higher. So yeah, I'd be okay with, spending these draft picks either on selections themselves or bringing in players to help fill out this roster. It's going to be very interesting, in my opinion, to see how Kyle Dubas balances bringing in players in free agency and trades and possibly even the draft, and bringing guys up from Wilkes-Barre, who has been an absolute bandwagon down in the AHL this year with, like I said, McGroarty, Koivunen, got Vasily Ponomarev down there, Avery Hayes, Owen Pickering, Sergei Murashov in net. So going to be very interesting and very exciting offseason for the Pens to see how they're going to balance out their roster, bringing in this next young wave of talent to help the team right now win in tomorrow and make the playoffs next year. I don't want to put this title and pressure on the young guys, but we saw this in 2015 and 2016 when Mike Sullivan got hired by the Pens, and he brought Brian Rust and Connor Sherry and Scott Wilson up from Wilkes-Barre, and those guys, were key to getting that first of the back-to-back cups. So hopefully you're looking at another, group youth upcoming with McGroarty, Koivunen, Ponomarev, all of those guys, Tristan Brose, Harrison Brunick. So should be very fun to see. In the comments, got to get going. Thanks for chatting. Catch you next time. Appreciate it, if you're still here. If not, have a good time on vacation. Appreciate you stopping by like normal. Gonna take a quick stroll through Twitter here to see what else is going on. So, going to get into some breaking news here. That not really breaking. It came across a couple of hours ago. Yep, seeing a bunch of news that I already know about. Going to talk about it here in a moment. Yep, not really seeing anything else. Ooh, don't like that. Travion Henderson, running back from Ohio State, has multiple pre-draft visits lined up this week, including with the Bengals. Ugh, do not want him to come to the AFC North. All right, so yeah, going to get into the sort of hodgepodge list of random news stories from today. Let's get into it. So, like I just said, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Washington Capitals captain and legend Alex Ovechkin from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal record. Ovi broke it yesterday with goal number 895 against the New York Islanders in a Caps 4-1 loss. Even though there has been a relationship filled with hate and animosity ever since he came into the league, I will say that with hate, there is some respect in there, and you got to respect what Ovechkin has done. I mean, alongside Crosby, for us, 8 and 87 took hockey from obscurity into a sport that, sometimes rivals the NBA and MLB. With that said, I'm doing this one time and one time only. Ovi, congratulations on breaking the goal record. It's been fun and an honor to watch you. And, you know, I appreciate all you done for hockey and can't wait to watch you and Sid some more as you guys are on the back nines of your careers. Two other Penguins news stories. Forward Philip Tomasino did not play last night against the Blackhawks. Tomasino had a hot start with the Pens after coming over from the Predators earlier this year. Kind of cooled down within the past month or so. And, it just sucks to see his season possibly end with him on the shelf. If that's the case, Tomer, get healthy, and we'll see you next season for a full year in the black and gold. Let me get to this one here. I had it starred here. Right here. Don't know much about this. Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins posted this 3 hours ago. Penguins signed defenseman David Briozil, as well as forwards Aaron Huglin and Zach Erdahl to contracts starting in 2025-2026 season. Briozil, a 2-year captain at the University of Maine, has joined the Penguins on an amateur tryout contract. So more guys from college signing with the Penguins. Have had a good bit of college guys signing on and sticking with the team. Of course, the most notable being Drew O'Connor from a handful of years ago. So it looks like Briozil from Maine, Aaron Huglin from Minnesota, and I believe that is Ohio State, where Zach Erdahl is coming from. Moving over to football here, there has been a lot of buzz in the past week about the Steelers drafting Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe, and I would be okay if that happens, just not at the expense whatsoever of the 21st overall pick. There has been, you've had media members speculating that the Steelers could take Milroe in the first round, mainly Colin Cowherd, who I especially think is a dumbass. This was the guy, after all, who said the Steelers should trade TJ Watt, George Pickens, and 2 first picks for Caleb Williams and even Shadur Sanders in this year's draft. But, now it seems that this take has rubbed off on those running the draft in Green Bay this year. Yesterday, NFL analyst Dane Brugler said that Milroe has reportedly accepted an invite to attend the draft in person in Green Bay, and no major NFL insider other than, I think, Ari Mirov from the 33rd team has, echoed such a report, so not entirely sure if he's going to be there or not. I know Ian Rappaport on the Pat McAfee show today said that he is not heard that Milroe will be there in person, but regardless, I will crash out on my stream on April 24th if I hear with the 21st overall pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Jalen Milroe, quarterback, Alabama. Aaron Rodgers, I can live with. We may suck, we may do good, but at least it will be entertaining. And then you go and you get your quarterback of the future when the draft is in your city in 2026. If Arch Manning decides to enter into the draft, or you got Drew Aller and Nico Iamaleava and whatever other quarterback may have a, surge here in the next college football season. But I'm okay. Milroe, 3rd round and beyond. Same with, Will Howard, Quinn Ewers, Tyler Shuck, all those other guys. I'm cool with that. But 21st overall, I can't do it. That will be absolutely asinine to me. And you take a quarterback, especially if it's Milroe, with the 1st round pick, you're playing catch up at all your other positions. You then, without a 2nd pick and only a 3rd round pick, need to get 1, probably 2 defensive linemen. You need to get a running back. And then also you kind of need, maybe another offensive lineman, a corner in case Darius Slay decides to go the Patrick Peterson route and absolutely crap the bed as a Steeler, and maybe a wide receiver in case, you ultimately decide to trade George Pickens, or George Pickens has an absolute diva-infested year, and you need someone other than Calvin Austin to be with DK Metcalf. So No to Milroe at 21. Milroe at 83 and beyond. Perfectly cool with it. Maybe, I saw this too. Where did I see this? Jordan Schultz report. I believe Fox Sports NFL Insider said that Milroe had private workouts with the New Orleans Saints, who hold the number 9 overall pick, and the Cleveland Browns, who hold the number 2 overall pick. Each of those teams described Milroe's, workout as impressive, and he also met with some members of the Jets prior to his pro day last month. So, hey, Saints, they're in salary cap hell. They're barely even going to be able to field a team. The Browns is the Browns. Quarterback, where quarterbacks go to die. And the Jets, they're not too far off from the Browns. So let those guys, I'm sure, the Browns at least are going to take either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. Jets probably going to take offensive lineman or Tyler Warren. And the Saints probably going to take someone on defense. So let one of those guys make the mistake of drafting Milroe, whether they trade back into the first round. Let them make the mistake. Please stick with your plan that I think you have already in place, which is use all the comp picks that you're getting together and take a quarterback in a much better quarterback class next year in Pittsburgh. Speaking of the Steelers, this one just came across 2 hours ago. Steelers brought back offensive tackle Calvin Anderson on a 2-year deal. So I think you found your backup tackle behind Broderick Jones and Troy Fautanu, going to fill in for Dan Moore there. Same with Dylan Cook, who I think is still on the team. And he can be your swing tackle as well. I believe he actually filled in for Dan Moore, who I think Moore got injured in the playoff game against the Ravens, if I'm not mistaken, and Anderson filled in. So back-to-back Andersons with the Steelers. You got Calvin, who will be your backup tackle, and you also have Spencer, who has, 5-position versatility across the entire offensive line. Speaking of the draft as well, if you're planning on going to the Steelers draft watch party at Stage AE on the north side, Steelers announced that long snapper Christian Kuntz, the Kane product, will be there to record a live episode of his podcast. I believe Cam Hayward did something similar with his podcast 2 years ago during the Joey Porter Jr. draft. So if you want to, possibly go see Christian Kuntz do his podcast live and in person, there's your best shot there at Stage AE on the 24th, probably the 25th, honestly. Switching over to baseball, Pirates have made a series of roster moves. Firstly, yesterday the Bucs placed right-handed relief pitcher Colin Holderman on the 15-day IL and recalled right-handed relief pitcher Chase Shugart from AAA Indianapolis. Holderman's injury, I think, is reportedly a sprained knee. Yeah, knee sprain. And this doesn't appear to be a phantom injury like what we kind of, thought last season when, he was having a rough time and they just put him on IR probably to just give him a breather. So this doesn't look to be the case. I think this is a legit injury. And also, I mean, no disrespect to Chase Shugart here, but where the hell is Kyle Nicholas? I get that you wanted to, save some options for other guys on the roster, but you got David Bednar down in AAA right there, to fix himself. And now you put Colin Holderman on the shelf for a little bit. Why isn't Kyle Nicholas, a guy who has, been shown to have closer qualities, why is he not up here? I like Dennis Santana and keeping him, and Ryan Baracki also, he's been hot lady minus what he did yesterday, but just don't understand why Kyle Nicholas is not here yet. Gonna get to the second roster move here in a bit. Dr. James Ott. Hello, Doc. I used to take my seat in left field so I could better watch Clemente fielding. Sometimes when an opposing player would hit a solid base hit and make a big move towards second base. rather than throwing it to second base, Clemente would throw so hard and so fast. Yeah, one of the best arms, just going off videos in my lifetime, one of the best arms that I've ever seen before. And you're very, very lucky, sir, to have been able to watch such greatness and the greatest player in Pittsburgh Pirates franchise history in person. I'm just still, young adult here. I'm just jealous of all the greatness that I missed out on watching Pittsburgh sports, the Pirates franchise dynasty of the 70s, the Pittsburgh Steelers and all their Super Bowls that they won during their dynasty, the first cups for the Pittsburgh Penguins in 91 and 92. Just wish I could have seen that. Glad you got to see it too. He would pick off at first base. Yeah, I mean, I'd be scared too if I had dude who just threw the ball 100 miles an hour. Like, even if you were to put a video from him back then in slow motion, it still looked like, he was throwing it really, really hard. So very glad that you got to see him there, Mr. Ott. Getting back to the second of the Pittsburgh Pirates roster moves. Fast forwarding to today, just a couple of hours ago, the Pirates placed utility man Jared Triolo on the 15-day IL and recalled prospect shortstop Sung Chae Cheng. Triolo was a late scratch from yesterday's lineup with lower back discomfort, so no shock that he got put on the IL. And Cheng, he is the Bucs, I think, number 17 overall prospect. He's already on the 40-man roster, so no other move needs to be made, and nobody needs DFA'd is what I mean by that. And he had 6 hits in spring training. Probably would have preferred Nick York, honestly, to get the call up here, and maybe a couple of other guys down there in AAA. But hey, at least it's not G1 Bay, so I'm not going to complain. Going to get to the Bucs game tonight. Cheng will not be in the starting lineup as they start a new series here in little over 40 minutes against the Cardinals. Got the lineup right here. Hayes, Brian Hayes will lead it off, playing third base again, like him in a leadoff role. No Brian Reynolds in the lineup tonight. They're giving him a night off. He's also dealing with, I believe that elbow or shoulder thing that's kept him as a DH. So no Brian Reynolds tonight. Andrew McCutchen will be back as the designated hitter, and he'll bat in place of Reynolds. Second, little flip-flop at the 3 and 4 hole here. Joey Bart batting third and catching. O'Neal Cruz, he'll get the number 4 cleanup spot, batting center field. Playing in center field, I should say. Tommy Pham in left field, batting fifth. Alexander Canarios in right, batting sixth. And then Eddie Rodriguez at first, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at short, and Adam Frazier at second rounds out the lineup. Carmen Majinski gets his second start of the season on the bump. And also you got the other probable pitchers for the Bucs here as well. Majinski tonight, like I said. Skeens, happy Skeens Day tomorrow night at 6:40 as well. And Mitch Keller will get the afternoon game on Wednesday in the series finale. So at least, thinking a bit selfishly here, at least when I go to the Pat McAfee big night on Wednesday, I won't get to miss the Bucs at all, as Keller will be on the bump at noon. See what else I got here. Also this morning, it was announced that a former Pirate is back in the NL Central. I believe it was Robert Murray, MLB insider for Fansided, was the first to report that the Milwaukee Brewers acquired familiar name right-handed pitcher Quinn Priester from the Boston Red Sox for an outfielder prospect, a competitive balance round A selection, and another player to be named later. So just under a year after the Bucs traded Priester, who was once one of their top pitching prospects, He's now back with a division rival who will probably fix him, most likely, if I had to guess. Bucs traded for Nick York in the Priester deal. So the Red Sox flip Priester now for, I think, what is a better haul than what the Bucs got for Priester initially. So, yeah, congratulations, Ben Cherington. Another brilliant trade of yours that blows up in your face. Can't wait to see Priester pitch like 7 scoreless innings, giving up 2 hits and striking out 8 when he inevitably pitches against the Pirates for the first time. Okay, so we covered some of the hockey news, also some of the Steelers news as well, wrapped up with some Buccos news. This one, kind of new. I believe it was earlier this morning or yesterday. The Raiders released corner Jack Jones. I believe he's a former New England Patriot as well. Only reason I'm saying that name is because the Steelers still could use, another warm body in their corner room before the draft here in April. And Jones, we got the former Raiders safeties coach Gerald Alexander as our defensive backs coach now. So pretty much any former member of the Raiders defense, I'm probably going to link to the Steelers in, at least a minor role. And yeah, like I said, the Bucs getting dunked on by the Hartford Yard Goats I'm seeing here. And yep, that is pretty much it. Calvin Austin signing, Steelers posting that is official. Looking more here, going to refresh my page here, see if anything else is going on. Videos and photos of Z, as they call him, Sung Chae Cheng, entering into the Bucs clubhouse, nickname Z. Looking here, seeing what else is going on. Ethan Hullahan, who is pretty tied into the Bucs in their financials. I know it's largely out of the news cycle, but there are a few aspects about the recent Pirates financial report that were nagging at me that I felt the urge to address. Obviously, took more than a thread. So, gonna be looking at that later. Hullahan been on top of, the total payroll for the Bucs and all that for the longest time. Interesting. The New York Mets at their ballpark Citi Field showed Alex Ovechkin's record-breaking goal on the Jumbotron during yesterday's game. Huh. It's interesting. Not really seeing any more news here. New news, I should say. You know what? Got about a little over half an hour until the Bucs games come on, so I think I will do a quick mock draft for the Steelers after all. You fire up the old mock draft simulator on PFF. Going to do another normal one for the Steelers here, 7-rounder. Going to do one next week where I just do all teams in the first round, which oddly enough, every single team still has their first round pick. Rare you see that, and I doubt that that is going to stay that way come draft night. Let's go share screen here. Let's go to the mock draft simulator. Okay, believe we are up and running here. Just double check. All right, so going to do this like how I normally do. Going to run through the first 10 picks, see what is going on. Usually go with PFF here because they're pretty much updating how their simulator thinks with all the news going on. Cam Ward, number 1 to the Titans. That's pretty much set in stone now. I believe the Titans called off a private practice with Shadur Sanders recently, so looks like it is guaranteed that Cam Ward's going to be the number 1 overall pick. Shadur Sanders to the Browns at number 2. Absolutely hilarious. Would love if they would do that instead of taking Abdul Carter. Giants take Abdul Carter at 3. Travis Hunter to the Patriots at 4. Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan, to the Jaguars at 5. That's pretty much another one that's being mocked a lot. Ashton Genty, running back, Boise State, to the Raiders. Again, another seemingly lock if he is there in that spot. Will Campbell, number 7, to the Jets. Armand Membo, tackle, to the Panthers at 8. Jahdae Barron, corner from Texas, to the Saints at 9. And then Jihad Campbell to the Bears at number 10. Gonna go all the way to the Steelers pick here. Shamar Stewart, number 11, to the 49ers. I believe I just saw Tyler Warren to the Cowboys. That is an interesting pick. If I'm them, I'm going wide receiver all day long. McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona, going to the Dolphins. That could be interesting, though. Tyreek Hill still doing his whole social media charade, tweeting the goodbye waving emoji. Matthew Golden to the Colts at 14. See, this is where I swapped those picks. Warren to the Colts and Golden to the Cowboys. Those just seem like perfect fits, just with the wrong team. Michael Williams, edge from Georgia, to the Cardinals. Will Johnson, corner from Michigan, to the Bengals. Don't like that pick for the Bengals. Saying it's a good pick for the Bengals, but one that I would not like them to make as a Steelers fan. Donovan Ezaraku to the Seahawks at 18. Kenneth Grant off the board. One of my favorite picks, gone to the Buccaneers at 19. And Kelvin Banks Jr. to the Broncos at 20. So now we're on the board. Mike Green, edge from Marshall, is here. Surprised he's still on the board. Luther Burden, wide receiver from Missouri, is there as well. Emeka Egbuka there. Walter Nolan, Amarian Hampton, Derek Harmon, all names that I like here. See what the trade offers are. So pretty much the only ones worth noting, you got the Rams and Bills. Rams got pick 26. Bills got pick 30. And I think we're going to see what the Rams are offering here for pick 26. Or what did the Bills have? Do they have a sooner pick? Okay. So the Bills got pick 30. They want to come up and probably take Mike Green, if I had to guess. If I ask for 30 and 56, gives me a 32% chance. Let me see what the Rams are. I don't want to fall too far back and lose Walter Nolan and Derek Harmon. So see what the Rams will. They'll take 90, 26 and 90. What if I ask for 27 as well? But I take 26, 90, and 127. And I take, gonna leave it at that. I think that's pretty fair, and I don't want to get too crazy here putting something through here that won't get accepted in real life. So offer that. And Josh Simmons is the tackle they take. So they take Josh Simmons. Mike Green from Marshall. He's gone to the Chargers. Walter Nolan goes to Green Bay. Emeka Egbuka gets scooped up by the Minnesota Vikings. My goodness, if that happens, that is an absolutely crazy wide receiver trio. Jefferson, Addison, and Egbuka. And Omarian Hampton running back to the Texans at 25. Not sure that makes sense either. So back up here, no trade offers. Walter Nolan's gone. Would have definitely taken him here if he was still there. but not liking Burden enough to pass up on the defensive lineman. So we're going to take Derek Harmon, 6'5", believe 330 pounds. Going to take him. Great player to have for Cam Hayward to mentor. The Ravens took Colston Loveland, tight end from Michigan. Tell me how that makes sense. Browns kick off round 2. They take an offensive guard, Booker. And speed up the speed of this real quick. So you're going to go fast here. I can always go back and see what happened here. So real quick, let's take a look, see if anybody of note went off the board. So Burden went to the Titans. Tyleik Williams to the Patriots. Caleb Johnson, running back, who I like, gone. Bengals take another corner. Maxwell Hairston. That's 2 corners for them. Tell me how that makes sense. This simulator must be buggy. Trevion Henderson, running back, Ohio State, to the Ravens. Again, what is going on? Jackson Dart gone as well. Jalen Milroe gone. All right, let's see what's cooking here at pick 83 then. So 2 trade offers. Browns, and then 1 back in the 100s, not interested. Going to stick and pick here. Jalen Knoll is still here from Iowa. I know the Steelers really like him as a wide receiver. I like him too. Guy who you can put in the slot. Excuse me. Be a great wide receiver addition. Also, Trey Harris is here. I actually like Harris better. 6'3", 210. Don't need to thrust him into action immediately. And when you eventually drop George Pickens, you can still have a wide receiver 2 behind DK Metcalf. So I think I'm going to do that. Let's go with Trey Harris from Ole Miss. Like the big body receivers. Back up here at 90. Any trade offers? Eagles want to come up from 96. The Vikings from 97. Does anybody have anything in the low 100s to where I can get back-to-back picks here? No. All right, gonna probably stick and pick then. Already made 1 trade. Took Trey Harris. Even though the Steelers, real life just re-signed Calvin Anderson, think I want to get my swing tackle out of the way. There are some good running backs here. Honestly, there is. Damian Martinez, DJ Giddens, RJ Harvey, Devin Neal. But I think I'm going to push off running back just a little bit longer here. I also got a back-to-back picks at 123 and 127. So hopefully one of those guys is there. I don't want to let one of these decent, tackles who could be your swing tackle this year, but next year could be a starter somewhere on the line get away. So one guy who I think the Steelers are especially excited about is Charles Grant from William and Mary. If Wyatt Millham from West Virginia, who just went literally 1 pick before to the Texans, was still here, he'd be my pick instantly. But do I want Charles Grant or do I want Cameron Williams? What's Cameron Williams doing? 3'5", 335. Got Tate Ratledge, who's a guard, 6'6", 320. Jonah Savania, 6'5", 336. I think we're going to go Savania here. Get another Bucs on the line with Troy Fautanu. See, hopefully that's a good grade getter for us. Devin Neal runs out. Looking here, what's left? Deion Walker went. Jamari Caldwell also went. So now we're back up here. Will Howard is still here, Ohio State quarterback. probably going to be my pick here. Very interested by Oluwafemi Oladejo here for the defensive line as well, though. I think I might push off defensive line with running back to either pick 127 or 156. So, Will Howard, welcome to the club. Back up here again. Oladejo went right after that pick. It's all right. I think it's time to take a running back here. Jarquez Hunter is there. Like him a lot. Ahmed Hassanin. Nice edge rusher there in my book. Pat Bryant, Tyler Beatty, Khalil Mullins for running back. But looking at what it's given me here, no Bayshall Tootin. Oh, Bayshall Tootin is there. I think that's going to be my pick. Jarquez Hunter. Just going off of my board of running backs. Hunter is up there, but Tootin is the best available. My number 8 running back, I believe, in this class. So, just going to, unless there's a phenomenal defensive tackle still remaining here, take him. Okay. I think we're going to take Tootin here and eye something else here. Just take a look at the corners, too. Cy Alexander, Denzel Burke, Jalen Smith. On second thought, I think I'm going to take Zy Alexander here. You get a nice corner, 6'2", 194, another long corner. Have him there in place of Corey Trice, who's injury prone, and Darius Slay, who's not getting any younger. So going to go Zy Alexander here and see who all falls. What running backs do we have left here at pick 56? Okay, so Tootin went. Ollie Gordon is still there. He just might be my pick here. Kyle Monangai is there too. Like him. Taj Brooks, same thing. Trevor Etienne. Think we're going to go Ollie Gordon. Bigger back, change of pace back to what you have with Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. Doubt the Steelers will do this, but I like him here, and hopefully you get the guy who, was the best running back in college football in 2023 and not the guy from 2024. Let's go ahead here to pick 185. And damn, Tonka Hemingway just went off the board. I was eyeing him up at this spot, but he's gone now. Ty Robinson's still left, though. Need a motor guy. 6'6", 310. Another tall guy like Derek Harmon. Tim Smith is still here. Junior Tafuna. 6'3", 308. I think we're going to go with Ty Robinson. Dude, from what I hear, is got a motor like no other, so. Or do I want Tafuna, change of pace guy from Harmon? Screw it. We're going Ty Robinson. And then this will take us up to pick 229. Kind of a, take who's best available there pick. A lot of wide receivers. Konate Mumpfield, the pick guy in me says to take him, but Raheem Sanders is there from South Carolina. Ketan Crawford. RJ Mickens. I think we're going to go here, just in case Ollie Gordon craps to bed. We're going to go Raheem Sanders here. I like him as solid running back, camp body here. So let's go Raheem Sanders, see what grade this simulator spits out at us. And going to get a B+. You gave me an F for Ollie Gordon? Really? Same with Ty Robinson? Otherwise, like all my other picks, Harmon, Harris, Savanaya, Howard, Alexander, Gordon, Ty Robinson, Raheem Sanders. Okay, I'll take it. Let's do one more quick scroll here through Twitter, see what else is going on. Ohio State wide receiver Emeka Egbuka visiting today with the Green Bay Packers, and then he spent Friday and Saturday visiting the Cowboys. So Egbuka, possible Packer and Cowboy. Derek Shelton speaking on Sung Chae Cheng's call up, saying, "Dude can really defend. Don't doubt that." Still looking, not really seeing much here. Yep, and that appears to be it. Not going to get much more news here until the Bucs game gets on their way. So I think that's going to be it for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate all of you joining me here this evening on for over an hour, almost hour and a half. So appreciate it very, very much. If you haven't done so already, like and share this stream, comment on it as well, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so that you get notified when I'm live like this. Other than that, appreciate you all very, very much. Join me back here around the same time tomorrow night before the Bucs game at 6:45, and I will see you all then. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Peace.